Welcome back to Sports Talk with Brett. I just did my Pac-12 preview in my last video. Go check that out if you haven't already. Plus I got the SEC preview, ACC preview, Big Ten preview. So go ahead and check those out. And this is going to be my Big 12 preview. I wanted to do it last because I'll probably end up, it's not the plan to talk more about it, but I probably will just because I know a lot more about the Big 12 because obviously I am an Oklahoma fan. Just keep watching. I'm going to do this bit, then I'm going to do my Final Four after I've done all the previews, what I think the Final Four, who will win the Heisman, like I said in the last video. And then I'm going to do a OU depth chart because it did come out today, the official depth chart, so I'm going to go over that and give you some of my thoughts on that. Starting out in the Big 12. Okay, let's see here. Let me get to the right page. Alright, I have Kansas finishing last at 0-9 in conference. And 1-11 overall. I just think it's a step back for them this year. They have a really tough schedule. I could see them maybe winning 2 games, 3 at the most. So 1-3 probably. They have a pretty tough schedule. They have them beating Southeast Missouri State. Tough game, I know, right? But one of their other out of conference games at Duke, which you've seen. I had them winning 10 to 11 games, I think, in my ACC preview, so they ain't gonna win that game. And I have them losing to Central Michigan, the Chippewas. They're usually a pretty decent team. They have a chance to win that one. And the other team I have them a chance of beating is Iowa State, but I'll go over their schedule. Have them beating Southeast Missouri State, losing at Duke, losing to Central Michigan, then losing to Texas, at West Virginia, to OSU, at Tech, at Baylor, to Iowa State, to TCU, at OU, at Kansas State. That's a tough schedule, especially for Kansas. You know, they go through the Big 12. I don't see them winning a game there, and then they got to go to Duke. So that's a tough schedule. Finishing right above them at 1-8, and where's they at? And 3-9 overall. Have West Virginia in Holgerson's probably last year. If he finishes with that record, he won't be back next year. They go to Alabama, I believe, first, and I think it's at Alabama, and they lose. I've been beating Towson, winning at Maryland, which would be they could lose that game just as easily as win it. Having losing to OU, beating Kansas, and then losing at Tech, to Baylor, at OSU, to TCU, at Texas, to KSU, Kansas State, and losing at Iowa State, which I could see them maybe beating Iowa State, maybe beating TCU, but that's about it. So I would guess near from 2 to 5 wins is where I would have them. Right above them, I have Iowa State finishing 2-7 with a 4-8 record, which is about what they were last year. They have a pretty tough schedule this year. I have them beating North Dakota State, losing to Kansas State, losing at Iowa, losing to Baylor, at OSU, beating Toledo, losing at Texas, losing to OU at home, winning at Kansas, losing to Tech, beating West Virginia, and losing at TCU. I don't see another win on their schedule, honestly. So I could have them anywhere from 3 to 4 wins probably is their max. Above them, I have Texas finishing at 4-5 with a 5-7 record overall, I just don't know. In Charlie Strong's first year, I just don't know what they're going to be. They still have David Ash, who I've never been impressed with. They supposedly have a good defense, but we'll see. We've seen years where they supposedly had a good defense, and you've seen what happens. But they have a pretty tough schedule as well. I'm going to go ahead and go over it. I have them beating North Texas, losing to BYU, who destroyed them last year, losing to UCLA, who I have undefeated, winning at Kansas, losing to Baylor and OU, winning at Iowa State, losing at Kansas State, at Texas Tech, beating West Virginia, losing at OSU, and then beating TCU. Which the only wins I could see is maybe a BYU and that's about it. Maybe 6 wins, maybe. some of the teams I think they could beat, they play on the road. Like maybe they could beat Oklahoma State, but not at Oklahoma State. I don't think. Maybe they could beat Tech, but I don't think at Tech. So it's going to be a tough year, I think, for Texas again, and we'll see what Charlie Strong can do. See if he can maybe eke them out a win or two. Right above them, I have TCU at 4-5 as well, but a 7-5 record. I have TCU, with a decent year. They get the guy from A&M Jokel, I think. I think he may be the starter there. I have them beating Samford, Minnesota, and at SMU. Winning at SMU. Start off 3-0 before they lose to OU. Lose at Baylor. Beat OSU at home. Lose to Tech at home. Win at West Virginia. Lose to Kansas State at home. Win at Kansas. Lose at Texas. And beat Iowa State. Same with them. I think they could. Let me see here. Where did I have that at? Had something here. They could maybe win against Texas at home, but I don't think they can win at Texas. We'll see, though. We'll see what Texas is. Nobody knows really what Texas is yet. So TCU, that's where I have them. I have OSU finishing 5-4 in the conference with a 7-5 record, which is about where most people probably think they're going to be at. I have them losing to Florida State, obviously. I have them beating Missouri State. UTSA, which is University of Texas San Antonio. I have them beating Tech, beating Iowa State, and then winning at Kansas. Before losing at TCU, beating West Virginia, losing at Kansas State, tough game, beating Texas, losing at Baylor, and at Oklahoma. 2 tough games to finish out the year. They lose to Baylor, Oklahoma, and Florida State, which is 3 top 10 teams. And then at TCU and at Kansas State, they could beat TCU. I mean, we'll see. Maybe they could get 8-4. I think 8's the most I see them winning this year. Above them, I have Texas Tech at 5-4 as well, but I have them at 8-4. And I have Texas Tech. Let me find them. Have them beating Central Arkansas, winning at UTEP, beating Arkansas, losing at Oklahoma State and at Kansas State, beating West Virginia, Kansas, winning at TCU, beating Texas, before losing to OU. And if OU does lose a game, which I'll go over here in a moment, I would see it being Texas Tech because OU's always had a real tough time winning at Texas Tech. So we'll see. Then beating Iowa State at Iowa State, and they play Baylor at home, which could be a tough game for Baylor, but I still have them losing to Baylor to finish out the season at 8-4. Above them, I have Kansas State at 7-2 with a 9-3 overall record. I have Kansas State beating Stephen F. Austin, winning at Iowa State, before losing to Auburn at home, which is a tough game, but then maybe they'll have a chance. We'll see. Beating UTEP, beating Texas Tech, losing at OU, beating Texas, OSU, winning at TCU, winning at West Virginia, beating Kansas at home, and they go to Baylor. I think they'd probably beat Baylor if it was at home, but it's at Baylor, so I think Baylor wins that game. I think Kansas State's going to be very good this year. They always are. They're always a very good coached team, so you know what to expect with Kansas State every year. Above them, I have Baylor finishing at 8-1 with an 11-1 record. Baylor won it last year, and what I think was a down year for the Big 12. Not the mouth, Baylor fans. You're a good team. OU wasn't what they usually are. Texas, we obviously know, was down. Oklahoma State, they've never been great, like a great team, except for the year they had Whedon. And they're about what they usually are, the 8 or 9, maybe 10 win team. And they still lost to OU, and when OU was kind of down. So the team that challenged them was Texas, who was terrible. So I mean, it was between Texas, OSU, and Baylor, and Texas was terrible, and OSU wasn't what they had been. I had them. They won it in that down year, in my opinion. I think this year's going to be a little better for the Big 12, but we'll see. I have OU at 9-0, finishing and winning the Big 12, and 12-0. Okay, you're going to say it's a homer pick, but looking at their schedule, I honestly believe we got the perfect schedule mixed with a really good team. you can call me a homer. I went over these schedules. I've spent hours doing this. You can ask my wife, and I honestly believe we're gonna be undefeated. I have us beating Louisiana Tech, winning at Tulsa, beating Tennessee at home, winning at West Virginia, at TCU, beating Texas at the Cotton Bowl, beating Kansas State at home, tough game at home, winning at Iowa State, beating Baylor at home, tough game at home, winning at Tech, barely, beating Kansas and beating OSU at home, tough game at home. All our tough games are at home except for Tech. So that's that there. I think it's gonna be another open year in the Big 12, just like most conferences, just open. I have Offensive Player of the Year being Bryce Petty, quarterback at Baylor. We all know what he can do. I think he'll do the same thing this year. He's a great player for sure. I have Defensive Player of the Year being Eric Stryker. I just think he's going to sack a lot of people this year, especially with the position change. You know, he kind of goes to that nickel kind of. He's going to kind of play where Julian Wilson played a lot last year. So I think he's going. They say he's going to get the blitz a little more. They actually said Julian Wilson blitzed more than Stryker did, so that's why they did the move that way. So I think it's going to be a big year for him. And then newcomer of the year, have Keith Ford, OU's running back. I think he's going to steal the position. He's starting right now, and I think he's going to end up stealing the position away completely, taking full reins, because I just think he's that talented. And he's going to be the newcomer at running back at OU, who's running back you, in my opinion. I mean, we got tons of running backs in the NFL right now. We have Clay, who just got cut by the Broncos. We obviously have Murray starting in Dallas, Peterson, best running back in the game, starting in Minnesota. Roy Finch is probably going to stick in New England. Damian Williams has got a chance to stick in Miami. So, I mean, that's 5 running backs in the NFL right now. So, we'll for sure see. I think it's going to be a big year. Keep watching. I'm going to go ahead and do my Final Four preview next and my Heisman winner. It's not going to be a very long video, obviously. And don't forget to follow Oklahoma Updated on Twitter. Follow B-Square1291 on Twitter. Find me on Facebook, Britt Brown. Follow Walk with Chappie. Watch his weight loss videos. Awesome guy, cool dude. Except he doesn't ever give me shout outs. And go ahead and do the ALS challenge if you get challenged. I think it's an important deal. So go ahead and get it done. You know, donate some money. It's pretty cool. But again, thanks for watching Sports Talk with Britt. Until next time, see y'all later.